Hi folks, welcome to our first video lecture for Comm 3950, Methods of Film Analysis. Throughout the semester, you will learn about and apply new terminology and film theory. You'll gain a better understanding of the history and development of the film industry, and you'll refine your analytical skills while producing both original written and multimedia content. This is a project-driven course, and it was designed with flexibility in mind, both because it's an essential part of my philosophy of teaching, but also because you and I and all the faculty, staff, and administrators on campus, worldwide frankly, are figuring out how one goes about doing this whole teaching and learning thing in the middle of a global pandemic. So what does that mean for you? Well, I'm offering you a sort of choose-your-own-adventure style of classroom engagement via a number of modalities. You can experience this course entirely in a traditional face-to-face context, completely online, or somewhere in the middle. It's your choice, and no, you're not locked into that choice. If you want to start coming to my class next week in person, and then you change your mind a few weeks later because you feel uncomfortable, or makes you anxious because you are yourself at risk, or maybe you are a primary caretaker for someone who is at risk, or honestly, for whatever reason, changing modality midstream, so to speak, will be fine. That's your choice, and this class is designed with that in mind. Again, flexibility. So let me tell you what we're going to be doing in this video lecture, the first of several that you're going to need to watch from beginning to end throughout the semester. First, I'll introduce myself. Then, I'll highlight some of the relevant course and university-wide policies. Next, I'll tell you about the resources that you're going to need to be able to successfully complete this course. Then I'll bring your attention to the 6 major assignments that you'll need to complete for this course. This will take up the bulk of this video's time allotment. And then finally, we'll take a look at the course calendar. All right, so who am I? My name is Dr. Matthew Hale. I have a PhD from the Department of Communication and Culture at Indiana University, and I study social media, popular culture, and the politics of technology. My pronouns are he, him, and his. If you would like me to call you something other than what's listed on the official roster on D2L or in One Stop, which is almost certainly your legal name, just send me an email with any name or pronoun preferences, or frankly anything else you might need. Just shoot me an email and we'll talk. Speaking of that, office hours. This year, I'm holding my office hours entirely online. That means we can set up times to chat, text, call, or even speak over Zoom. So essentially, I'm available, and all you need to do is contact me, and we'll figure out a time and a platform. Okay, so let's start with course policies. Let me be clear, this is a brief and incomplete overview of my course policies. For a complete account, review the official course policy documents under Course Policies tab on D2L. So, first and foremost, should you need any accommodation whatsoever, contact the folks over in Disability Services. Disability Services will then contact me, and then you, and I will get things in order, and you'll be all set. Again, go read the official course policies for greater detail, but I can offer this quick summary of a lot of the content found therein. Be professional, treat me, staff, faculty, and your fellow students with respect and dignity. Do not cheat or plagiarize. It's up to you to submit your assignments to me on time, in the proper format, via the correct channels, and I don't accept late work. I will be loosely tracking attendance this year because, for one, not all of you are going to be physically attending class every single session. Some of you might not even ever step foot into the classroom on campus, and that's okay. But this does make things a bit more complicated. And secondly, while I want you to attend and participate in class, you must not do that at the cost of your personal health or safety or the well-being of others. This brings me to our COVID-specific policies. APSU has a complete list of COVID-related policies and procedures. If you haven't reviewed those, pause this video and go and do that now. You must follow all of those policies, and I'm going to follow them as well. So here I just want to reiterate a few things that I think warrant repeating for your participation in this class in the IRL physical context. Throughout the semester, in accordance with CDC guidelines, we'll be practicing social distancing. You will be required to wear a mask the entire time you are in class. Me too. And finally, I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that if you cover the bodies of the vector art people on this slide, you get what looks a bit like the smiling baby from the Baby Beats computer at chess meme, or a creepy pink fleshy colored version of the Lego minifig, not unlike Frank Ippolito's real-life Lego minifig cosplay that he made back in 2016 for Tested, which may or may not have inadvertently triggered the dark timeline that we now find ourselves. Okay, so class meetings. Let me explain how our course will operate each week. This class is small enough that we can have everyone in one space at one time while still maintaining social distancing with some room to spare. So on Mondays, I will release a new online lecture that covers, augments, and supplements our assigned course readings and multimedia content for that week. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we will screen films. Fridays, on the other hand, will be dedicated almost entirely for discussion. Due to variation in run times, however, we will have to finish up about 10 or 15 minutes of footage for 1 or 2 Fridays throughout the semester. Regardless, that's going to be the pattern. Screenings on Mondays and Wednesdays, discussion on Fridays. I will be live streaming, recording, and uploading our Friday discussion sessions for those attending class virtually. I'll likely designate someone, might even be a revolving position or several of you, to be the class moderator. And it's going to be your job to operate Zoom, read out questions from chat, and so on. A quick note on in-class screening etiquette. We'll be operating under an Alamo Drafthouse style policy. That means screenings are going to begin promptly. No talking. Seriously, don't talk. Just watch the movie, take notes, and be prepared to discuss the film by the end of the week. Resources. All of the texts for this course are available via D2L for free. I will either bring, borrow, rent, or buy all of the films that will be screened in class. That means if you are attending class in person, you will spend nothing or very, very little money on associated classroom materials and resources. For those of you participating in class virtually, I have made every effort to reduce screening and rental costs. If you were to rent all of the films that we're going to be watching this semester at the average $3.99 online rental price, you'd clock in at about $50. Now, assessing the rental cost becomes a bit more complex when we factor in streaming platforms. For instance, 4 of the 12 films that we're going to be screening are available on Netflix right now, and several others are available on Amazon Prime and Hulu subscription services. So assuming you have access to one or more of those streaming services, your total expenditures for film rentals this semester could be as low as around $25. All of you, whether you're attending class face-to-face or online, will need access to some means of recording video and audio content. So you'll need, ideally, access to a smartphone. You could make a webcam work, but really a smartphone because you're probably going to want to be mobile. You could certainly use a camcorder or a DSLR, but a smartphone should suffice. You will also need a YouTube account and access to some sort of basic video editing application. The department has access to Final Cut Pro 10 or X and Adobe Premiere Pro, but you could just as easily get by with iMovie or any number of free online editing programs. This isn't a production course by any means, but you will be producing a bit of original video content this semester. And this brings us to the assignments that you're going to need to complete for this course. There are 6 assignments in total. In-depth instructions for each of those assignments are located under the Assignment Instruction Sheets tab on D2L. Likewise, I'll be posting video walkthroughs for the more involved or complicated assignments. But for now, let me just preview the work you're going to be doing. First up is the sequence inventory, wherein you'll deconstruct or reverse outline a film sequence that appears in one of the first 3 films that we're going to have screened in class. That is Pan's Labyrinth, Get Out, or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Next up, 2 film sequences. In order to understand and appreciate how the cinematic sausage gets made, so to speak, you'll each produce and share your own original video content. These will be very short films that are based around a loose but key theme. You'll pick one of these themes to explore per film sequence from a choice of 4 possible keywords. Those keywords are place, process, people, and narrative. Or if you want to be less precise but keep the alliterative streak going, I suppose you could say parable. Next up, you'll record a critical film review about a film, any film, so long as it's not one of the ones that we're screening in class. After that, you will create a detailed critical profile of an auteur's work by examining a few of her, his, or their films. This is, in essence, your big final paper, but as you'll see in a second, all the assignments are equally weighted. And finally, you'll be submitting a total of 10 weekly screening or reading responses in which you react to and analyze and critique a particular film and the associated course readings and video lecture for a given 7-day period. For those keeping count at home, we'll have 12 weeks of in-person course sessions and thus 12 in-person film screenings. As such, this means you'll have 2 opportunities to skip writing a weekly screening response paper. Use that wiggle room strategically, as one always must with wiggle room, or at least that's what my dad always said. I'm just kidding, my dad never gave me sage advice. I want to just give you a preview of the course calendar. This is available under the Syllabus tab on D2L. You should check this out multiple times every single week. It's going to keep us all on schedule and organized. I'm recording this video lecture a few weeks before the semester has begun, so here's a disclaimer. So bear in mind that the final syllabus and course calendar might look slightly different in terms of just aesthetics or even course content, but that should more or less be the same as you see here. On the left, you can see previously mentioned assignments, their due dates, and the values, and below that you have a handy numerical grade to letter grade chart. If you look on the right side of the screen in the course calendar, you can see that we're not going to physically be meeting during the first week of class. Instead, you'll watch Guillermo del Toro's 2006 film Pan's Labyrinth, which is currently available on Netflix. Then you'll do a bit of reading, explore museum website, and watch our second video lecture prior to us all digitally hanging out, or whatever you want to call it, at our regularly scheduled class time on Friday. This will mainly just be a chance to check in with one another, troubleshoot some Zoom-related stuff, and do a bit of a Q&A. I suspect there's going to be a little bit more Q than there's going to be A, as we're going to have to figure out some of the logistic things bit by bit, but we're going to get it done. I'm actually thinking about having all of my students this semester send in questions, whatever they might be, about me, the course, classroom policies, or what have you, and then I might record a pretty low-tech QA response video. I'll send out a survey and see if folks care to do that. If you do, I'll do it. If no one cares, then I won't waste my time or effort on that video. All right, moving on. As you can see here under week number 2, genre and forms, this is how I designate assignment due dates on the course calendar. This is for the viewing and reading response entry for our second film of the semester, Jordan Peele's 2017 directorial debut, Get Out. And here we have weeks 3 through 7. I'm just showing these 2 pages of the calendar to point out that anything in blue is a live link and that the formatting will be consistent throughout the entire document. It's pretty clear, I think, but oftentimes things might appear clear or straightforward to you as a faculty member or the creator of a piece of content, and then you realize it wasn't all that clear when you attempt to communicate your plans or ideas to someone who exists outside of yourself. So, with all of that being said, we're done. Welcome to Comm 3950. Take care and talk to you soon.